Alright guys, got an interesting little game that I just used to get my nose back over 1400 after my big slide. So this is in the Caro-Kann fantasy variation. So we've got the Caro-Kann here, d4, and now I play the fantasy variation with f3, and we exchange in the center. So I do have this kind of pawn advantage in the center. And there's one key thing about this video, which is the Greek gift. Something you've got to be aware of, and something that I don't think I understand quite well enough. So we're going to go through the game, then we'll do the analysis and see if there was something that I missed. All right, so here, obviously when there is a pawn in the center, bringing out your knight can prompt a kick. But here I just decided to develop instead, and now we have e6, and now I kick the knight. Gain a tempo. Now here I don't want to capture and allow him to recapture with the c-pawn, then rebuilding his center. That would give us a kind of a French advanced structure. So I just play my knight out to f3 and allow him to capture. I capture inwards with my b-pawn. And now I'm feeling fairly comfortable with this. We have the bishop out, both getting ready to castle, and c5. So black now has 2 attackers on this pawn. I have 2 defenders. So no reason not to go ahead and castle. And now the knight comes out, offering a 3rd attacker of pawn, knight, and queen. So I bring my bishop out to e3 as a 3rd defender. Now black castles, and I bring my queen across to e1. Seems like a kind of quiet move, but this is something we see quite often in different setups. Very often in the Dutch. You have the same thing in the Grand Prix Sicilian, for example. So I'm getting ready to bring my queen out to here, line it up with the king, and then there might be options of bringing the bishop in, for example. Okay, so we have pawn takes. This is fine. And here I think I could have just pushed c3 and kicked the bishop away. That would have been all right. But then my queen maybe, if the bishop retreats, my queen would be stuck babysitting that pawn. We don't want that. So queen g3. And now the bishop comes in attacking the rook. I actually missed the attack on the rook because I was thinking only about this. I was thinking only about the Greek gift. So the Greek gift is when, and I think I understand this to a degree, you capture with the bishop. Okay, you capture like the h-pawn with the bishop. King recaptures. And then you come in with the knight with check, right? Knight's defended there, king retreats, and now the idea is to get your queen to here and deliver checkmate. Okay, so I put my queen here. Black now sacrifices his queen, right? I capture, and here again I've completely missed that this bishop's looking at my rook, right? So I see the knight. I think let's just trade stuff. Again, I've missed that the rook's hanging because that comes with check anyway. And now I'm actually only 1 point in front in material. Pawns are equal. We've got 5 pawns each. But my opponent has basically a rook and a bishop, which are worth 8 for a queen worth 9. So it's certainly far from over. Bishop comes off the back rank, connecting the rooks. I attack the bishop. Bishop moves. I lift my rook. Again, the idea is to go for the throat. So rook here, queen here, and deliver checkmate on one of 2 squares. Bishop attacks rook, rook slides across, and now pawn pushes forward. So this does give the king a bolt hole here. So here I come back. Bishop grabs a pawn. I come in with check. There's only 1 move. I come in with check again. Pawn captures with check. Rook takes. And now this is a fork on bishop and king. King moves, and for some reason I neglect to capture the bishop. Oh yes, the reason is because black has rook f1 checkmate. Okay, so that would have been a very, very simple trap. So rook f3 now, this rook is pinned. So we're in a situation where I can force the exchange of rooks if I want. Now the bishop escapes, and we trade off rooks. I figure that I've got the more mobile piece on the board, right? It's a queen. Material is actually equal. a queen and a pawn. No, a queen against rook, bishop and pawn. So, but the thing about my queen is that my queen has many more forking opportunities, right? Rooks can only go in straight lines, bishops can only go on half the board. My queen can move diagonally, can land on any square on the board. I should be able to do all right. So, throw in a check, grab a pawn, right? My opponent doesn't play particularly well here. Should really have gone there. Grab the pawn, and now again, this is a fork on king and bishop. So what he should do is he should have put his bishop there, but he didn't, and he just drops his bishop, okay? Now I come in with check, and I have a think here, right? If I go here, for example, and wherever the king moves, doesn't really matter, right? Then queen takes rook, king takes rook. So the king's on here, right? Then I have to think, if I push h4, where's the square? Well, that's the square, right? And the king there can easily get into the square. If the king can get into the square, then he can save the pawn. So I push the pawn first. King comes here, I throw in a check, king moves into the corner, I push my king forwards, and then my opponent at this point resigns, because he knows these 2 pawns are pretty much unstoppable, right? I've got ideas, put my queen here to here, with a fork. You know, there's just too many options now for white. But the key thing is that what we want to look at is this Greek gift idea, right? Now, the idea is that you get an unstoppable attack, like an unstoppable mate, okay? But let's look at the review. Let's look at the game report and see how I did. Now, this is chess.com's new kind of beta game review thing, so it's slightly different to what we're familiar with. It looks kind of funky. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to implement more qualitative guidance, rather than saying, the computer said that move was better, you know, to try and say why. Now, there are no blunders in this game, which is cool, surprisingly. 7 mistakes on my part and 6 on my opponent's part. So let's run through. Okay, all book. Okay, and that's the last book move. I've played this opening 206 times with a 61% win rate. Okay. That's an inaccuracy, of course. It says this move might cause trouble. Okay, that's good. It's slightly disappointing it doesn't automatically tell you the best move now. Knight to here is best, okay. I'm happy with this point. Again, inaccurate play by my opponent. Okay, I'm glad to see that's the best move. I like that move. And castles is best. Good. Bishop e3 is a mistake. What's the best move? Queen across. Okay, well, that's what I play next, I think. So, okay. So bishop there, then queen across. Okay, that's poor. It's an unfortunate error. Well, let's play on. Queen g3 is excellent. Your rooks are connected. Okay, so now, bishop to there, inaccuracy. Bishop h7 check is a mistake. You're going to end up losing material after all the trades are done. So the best move here would have been knight in first. So guys, it looks as though I did kind of remember the Greek gift all right. So bishop takes h7 is, I think, correct here, right? So let's just run through a few options. If king to here, that's, I think, going to be just completely losing. I mean, I can slide my queen across. Then even if he takes that, I've got bishop back. He's in check. Can't go here. There's only one move, which would be king to there, and then that's checkmate, right? So that doesn't work. So let's say king takes the bishop, and now the move is knight to g5 check, and that is what I played. And there are really two solutions here. What my opponent played in the game, I think was queen takes. which is actually what the computer suggests you should do in this situation, give up your queen. Right, and of course I just didn't notice that I had a rook hanging there. More common than that would be a human with, you know, oh, he's in check, so there, say queen here, rook across, so that's checkmate anyway. No, it's not, because we've got this. Okay, now, so king goes to here. What I want to capture this pawn. So I think if king goes there, so there is a line with this anyway. So yeah, rook's going to move. Check. I mean, it's pretty winning anyway. Goes there. Yeah, that's not the best way. It's not the best way, but in fact I do now have this in this instance, and that is check. Why is it not checkmate? You can't go there, you can't go there, you can't go there, you can't go there. I think that is checkmate in that situation. Yeah. So so there you go. That is the Greek gift. So what are you looking out for? What is the pattern for the Greek gift? Okay. So the pattern is this: that you have your knight developed, ready to come into g5. Okay, and you have at least one bishop there. I mean, two bishops. Will very often be there anyway. Okay, and the queen is on this normal diagonal. Okay, so basically I've got my bishop on d3, my knight on f3, black castle's short. And now my queen is queen's just ready to get onto the h file. Okay, so now you takes, then the knight comes in. All right. Now the computer actually said that knight in first was best, because basically, according to the computer, that would have simply forced an exchange of queens. But that's what happened anyway in the end. So all good. So bishop takes, king has to take or else it's losing. All right. Then the knight comes in with check, and you should have a forced win there, one way or the other. So there you go. One to look out for, one to practice. There's lots of ways that you can come about this. You know, you could get it in the French, you could get it in all kinds of situations. But yeah, I think the key thing is bishop on d3, knight there, and the queen ready to get somehow safely onto the h file. Seems to be the pattern. So look out for it in your games. Hope this is a bit useful for you. But I enjoyed my win anyway. And I do like the fantasy variation. It tends to be very sharp and fun as well. And I just need to log this in my brain, this old pattern, because it can give you some nice quick wins. All right. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you soon.